Well, as you well know, government shut liquor shops again because of an increase in trauma cases at hospitals. And it begs the question, are we a nation of irresponsible and heavy drinkers? I'm joined now by Maurice Smithers from the Southern African Alcohol Policy Alliance. Mr. Smithers, good evening to you. South Africa's relationship, or South Africans' relationship with booze has always been an unhealthy one. Why is it, do you think?
Well, look, I think, first of all, we shouldn't overstate the case. One reason for that is that, and this is a figure that keeps on confusing people, but according to the World Health Organization status report on alcohol and harm in the world, alcohol and health, South Africa, only 31% of people 15 and above actually drink alcohol. So that means that's, a good 69% of the population don't actually drink at all. Either were drinkers or have never been drinkers. So, first of all, I think it's important that people understand that. The second thing, though, is that of that 31% who do drink, about 59% are what we would call problem drinkers. And that's where the problem lies. It's the binge drinkers who may not drink throughout the week, but starting Puza Thursday, Puza Friday, they drink, and they drink till they drop. Then you've got the other problem drinkers who drink a great deal every day, but they could moderate their behavior. And then, of course, you've got a very small number of people who are actually alcoholics. And that's a different kettle of fish, obviously, because you can't alcoholics can't moderate their drinking behavior. They either drink or don't drink. They can't. There's no in between. So I think that we shouldn't overstate the case, but there's no doubt there is a problem, and there's no doubt that it needs to be corrected. And I think one of the issues that has happened now is COVID has actually brought this to the fore and made it part of the national debate.
All right, and the national debate is important, and we can talk a little bit about how we can change our habits for the good a little bit later. But the ban itself, the ban on the sale of alcohol, do you think it has worked? Has it alleviated the pressure on the health system that was the original intention?
Well, according to the information that we've had, and we've had information directly from doctors who work in hospitals. We've also had information from the media, obviously, and then also from the South African Medical Research Council, who have done quite a lot of research into this. And yes, it has made a big difference. I mean, one of the most graphic representations of that was a doctor from Groote Schuur who said to me that for 2 months in Groote Schuur, people, the health workers in the trauma unit, were spared what he called the unmistakable combination smell of alcohol and blood. And that after the 1st of June, which was the time that the first ban was lifted, the smell returned.
And that is a very powerful and evocative image that you've just painted, but that has got to be tempered against the cost to livelihoods in this country. Jobs have been lost, and the catastrophic impact of a loss of tax.
No, absolutely. Look, on the tax issue, I think it's always important for people to remember that a lot of research has gone into the cost of alcohol to the country, and the cost-benefit analysis. What is the benefit to the country of the alcohol industry, and what are the costs? And there are figures that actually are quoted in a report that was done for NEDLAC in 2017, when the business sector and the trade union sector asked government to do a proper socioeconomic impact study on the new liquor amendment bill. And those figures indicate that the cost to the country of alcohol harm, tangible and intangible costs, can be 2 to 3 times the economic benefit to the country of the alcohol industry. So I think one has to keep that in perspective. Having said that, there's no doubt that there's been a major economic impact on the liquor industry, as it has been on many, many industries in the country. And our argument has always been that if government regulated alcohol properly, and we're talking about even now, if alcohol was regulated more stringently, there would be no need for a ban.
How should government regulate it more stringently?
Well, there's a number of ways in which you can do that. First of all, I think, our argument is you push for the World Health Organization recommendations of the 3 best buys for reducing alcohol harm. And the one is around availability. Make alcohol less easily available. So in other words, you reduce the operating hours of liquor outlets, for example. You raise the drinking age.
Yeah, but Mr. Smithers, that's all well and good, but you also know that if you implement that kind of thing, you're just going to drive it underground, like has happened to the tobacco industry.
Not necessarily. That's always a big assumption. But one is talking about trying to change the culture of drinking in the country. And if you reduce availability, if you increase the price of drinking, and most importantly, if you deal with advertising, that will begin to change the culture of drinking in the country. A lot of the way in which people drink and the kind of culture of drinking is driven by the way alcohol is promoted by the alcohol industry and by peer pressure, by this idea that, you should be drinking.
So what are you saying? Alcohol advertising should be banned?
I'm saying that, well, if you look at what happened with tobacco, what's really interesting about the tobacco ban that happened in 1999, you and I are both old enough to remember a time when smoking was ubiquitous. Wherever you went, people were smoking. In meetings, in lifts, in restaurants, in aeroplanes, in buses, in cinemas, there was smoking happening. And that actually in many ways disempowered non-smokers. But what it also did was it gave smokers a kind of culture of impunity, that they could smoke wherever they wanted to. What happened with banning and with the banning of alcohol, tobacco advertising, and also restricting the smoking in public places, it's changed the whole culture of how tobacco is consumed in the country today. And there's no reason why that shouldn't happen with alcohol as well.
All right, Maurice Smithers, I'm going to leave it there. Regrettably, time is against us. It always will be a difficult and contentious debate, but thank you from the Southern African Alcohol Policy Alliance. I do appreciate your time.